recognized for your opening remarks.
Chairman Molinar, thank you so much. Ranking Member Krishnamurthy, members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to testify today about China's threats to the auto sector. For me, the issue is personal. I grew up in the Midwest, including the suburbs of Detroit. My family has worked across the automotive supply chain for 3 generations. The Detroit that my parents and grandparents knew, of course, is long gone, but manufacturing is starting to return to America, and that's good news. To protect and expand that progress, we must confront the central challenge: China and its system of non-market practices across the global automotive supply chain. Chinese companies are now at the forefront of a state-backed strategy to dominate global automotive production. This is not normal industrial production or competition. China is flooding the global markets with both EVs and traditional vehicles through massive overcapacity, which is driven and subsidized by the state. The result is a wave of Chinese industrial dumping that exports deflation, wipes out competitors, and tilts the playing field before cars even reach the showroom. Even Russia, China's so-called no-limits partner, has implemented trade barriers against this overproduction. China's overcapacity is not an accident. It is incentivized at every level of government. While some national EV subsidies have shifted, substantial support continues or has even grown through preferential tax treatment, cheap land and loans, generous R&D subsidies, and a patchwork of provincial incentives that together channel billions to Chinese automakers. These advantages are reinforced by a suite of non-market practices that I detail in my written testimony. They include IP theft, forced technology transfer, heavy-handed vertical integration, forced labor, and strategic market cornering designed to eliminate foreign competition. Price manipulation is also a major threat. When one country can raise or crash global mineral prices at will, supply chain diversification becomes almost impossible. We are not facing these challenges alone. German automakers, among the most competitive in the world, are watching their home market fill with subsidized Chinese EVs sold below cost. European suppliers are being squeezed by the same mineral price swings and unfair production advantages that harm US firms. Across the Indo-Pacific, Japan and Korea face strategic dependence on Chinese batteries, materials, and components despite decades of industrial leadership. And Mexico is now China's largest automotive export market. This gives the United States an opportunity to magnify the impact of trade rules and approach this challenge not only with domestic strategy, but with allied coordination and alignment. For example, unified tariffs on Chinese imports, common import restrictions on connected vehicle technology, and clear limits on Chinese control acquired through their investments in Western companies. And we should be clear, this is not just about protecting OEMs and finished vehicles. The entire automotive supply chain is at risk, but especially the small and medium-sized companies that form the backbone of US automotive manufacturing and adjacent industries. Unfortunately, that's not all. We also need to consider the companies that don't yet exist, the next generation of innovators. They are even more vulnerable to China's predatory practices. To make the jump from a brilliant idea to manufacturing at scale is difficult under the best of conditions. But when China can manipulate prices and build monopolies, it prevents new market inventions and the dynamic transformation that no longer makes it to the market at all. So if the US and its allies want to compete, we need more than world-class cars, trucks, and SUVs. We need a world-class supply chain, strategically decoupled, resilient, diversified, innovative, and anchored by domestic manufacturing and allied co-production. Moreover, we need Congress to reinforce, codify, and expand the use of tools such as the Connected Vehicle Rule, which requires manufacturers selling in the US to examine their components based on whether they are subject to Chinese ownership and control, not only examining the location where the component is made. This is very important. The CV rule alters the landscape of China's ability to use a global manufacturing base to spread its non-market practices in our trading blocs, and it can be applied more broadly to address systemic supply chain vulnerabilities. Congress must commit to a bipartisan strategy to secure US leadership in the global auto industry, build our trade enforcement measures that give teeth to our economic security strategies, and ensure opportunity for American workers for decades to come. Thank you for the opportunity to testify, and I look forward to your questions.